My guest at this time is a WWE commentary veteran who can now be heard calling the action ringside with me at Warrior Wrestling. It is Rich Bocchini. Rich.
Bocchini. How long have I known you, Hausman?
Did I say it right?
Bocchini. No.
What did I say?
It's fine. Yeah, I don't know what you said, but it
I
wasn't
said
right.
Bocchini.
You said Bocchini.
Yeah, you always tell me.
No, you said more like bikini or what? It's Bocchini.
I just always try to say it more.
Think of a bow tie.
Yeah.
Right? A bow, like a bow.
Bow.
Key that you open the door with, and then your knee. Bocchini.
Bocchini.
No. Bocchini.
Bocchini.
Yeah. You stress the key.
I feel like I am back at my high school.
Let's get this right here, Nick. I've been calling these Warrior shows with you now for, I don't know, 3 years now. I've known you longer than that, at least 5. You still can't get my name right.
Bocchini.
You know what? 9 out of 10, you call like the DMV or the credit card company. Hello, Mr. Richard. Or how do you say your name? And they take a stab. And 9 out of 10 times they're wrong. So don't feel bad.
Bocchini. Okay. This is good content. Hey, Rick.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about.
Are we? Okay, good. Let's talk about stuff.
We're gonna talk about some topical stuff in a bit.
All right.
But we're doing this we're largely doing this because we're doing the Warrior Wrestling Show. Warrior is coming back here.
Yeah.
In a week or so. And
June 5th.
June 5th, right? Yep.
June 5th. Chicago Heights, Marion Catholic High School, warriorwrestling.net. I'm going to do the hard sell right now. War of Attrition Lucha match. Women's title match featuring Kylie Ray. That's going to be an exciting, against Holodead. That's going to be an exciting match. And then, of course, Trey Miguel, the Warrior Wrestling champion, takes on Lee Moriarty. And I've had a chance to call some of Lee's stuff with Enjoy Wrestling, a new group out of Pittsburgh that I'm working with. Lee's the real deal. So he's somebody to keep an eye on, and he could walk in. I mean, we've seen him at Warrior before, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, the fans, they some of them know who he is. But I think there's going to be a lot of people who will be surprised to see him in the championship matchup and be like, but I think once they see him compete at that level, because I've seen him compete at a high level before, I think, I get it now. Lee Moriarty, I see. This may be premature to say this, and somebody might say, well, you're just saying that because they're both black or whatever. But he could be like the Shane Strickland, like the run that Strickland had, say like 2017, 2018.
Sure.
Where he was the guy to keep an eye on. I feel like Moriarty has some of that same kind of energy, that same kind of buzz about him.
Yeah, I like the way
I hear the same people talking about them. I guess is what I'm saying.
No, you're absolutely right about that. Yeah, I mean, Lee has won over everybody around him, and it's just the style and the swagger that I like.
I think so. Yeah,
it's what he brought. It's like just the person that he is. Like him and Trey, honestly, are like super cool dudes. Like I think that's why I think this is such an interesting main event, because that's what Warrior Wrestling does. It's not always about like baby faces versus heels. Like if there's a good match to be had and it's just going to make sense in this moment to grab these two competitors and throw them in a ring, that's what Warrior Wrestling does, man. Like all day long. There's not a whole lot of, Frank and Ego, they seem to have their long-term.
Thankfully, there will be no Frank the Clown at this coming event.
Hey, look, we've been told that in the past and they showed up. So like,
That's true.
I don't count out that.
I'm gonna tell you what. If Frank the Clown crashes this event, I don't know. What can I do? I need to do something. If Frank you know what I mean? Like, joke's on me if he shows up, right? Ha ha ha. I need to do something.
Sure.
I'm not gonna say I'll eat my shoe, but I don't know. Come up with something. We can come back to this. I'll do something.
Something embarrassing. We'll throw you in the dunk tank, right? Usually,
yeah, something like that.
The clown usually goes in the dunk tank.
That's right.
You'll be the clown.
That's right. It's not too far removed.
No, not at all. No, I mean, look, hey, Frank the Clown is a delight. He is a treasure. He has exceeded all expectations. I mean, real talk here, Rich.
Yeah,
this guy he's gotten to the top, right, or very nearly the top of the mountain. I could see Frank in NXT managing. Like,
yeah, you could, huh?
I absolutely could see Frank the Clown in NXT.
You could see Frank the Clown perhaps someday joining the ranks and being thought of in the same echelon as like a Freddie Blassie or a Bobby the Brain Heenan, perhaps a Jim Cornette.
I didn't say it. You said it.
No, well, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit, I suppose. Frank's a very talented guy. I don't know that he's talented in the wrestling business, but he's certainly a very talented guy.
You are. I hate to aggressively disagree with you, but Frank the Clown is a talent, and you are missing the mark here, Frank the Clown.
Well, I think I've said many times before, never has somebody with so little gone so far. Frank the Clown is he's the top of that class.
Wow, so little. That guy he oozes charisma. Did you see that? Like whatever, like light.
Why are we talking about Frank the Clown so we talked about Lee Moriarty? I mentioned Kylie Ray. What's the scoop with Kylie Ray?
Okay, great question, Rich. And I'm not going to let you just pivot away like that.
Why not?
Frank the Clown is a draw. Frank the Clown is. No, I'm going to get the last word in on this. Rich
okay, all right, that's fair. That's fair.
All right, now let's talk about Kylie Ray. What's the scoop with Kylie Ray? Okay?
Yeah, what is the scoop with Kylie Ray? I haven't seen her in the ring in a long time. I know she's from the Chicago area. You probably maybe a little more in tune if she's had any matches up in that area as of late. But I'm excited to see, what the layoff has been like for her.
Well, she's obviously, I believe, still the freelance wrestling champion. Right. Here in Chicago, and they're about to relaunch. I believe Kylie might have actually done a match recently with Black Label Pro, though I'm sorry, Mikey, I haven't necessarily want to confirm that, right? Could be right, could be wrong. Pretty sure that's true. But regardless, when we closed up shop last summer, right? Mm-hmm. Because we only did the 3 summer shows, and now we're back, and it's a year later. We're gonna do some more. Kylie publicly said, I'm done with wrestling. I'm no longer a wrestler, and I thought there was a very real possibility that we were going to have another women's war of attrition match,
right?
Around another women's champion. So just the fact that Kylie's even there and is going to be defending the title, I think is a big win, right? You never want to see somebody get so mixed up in the business that they just want to leave, right? And it's a happier story that she gets to come back and all the fans are going to get to see her perform. And I just hope it's a fun time for her and everybody there.
Yeah, I think so too, and I'm excited to see her defend the title. But these Warrior shows we talked about last summer, the 3 shows, and it was fun to kind of get out of town. I think during there was a dip in COVID cases and all that, right? We put on our masks. It was outside. It was a little bit of a safer environment. But now most people are getting vaccines. Some of them are not. But regardless, things are starting to open back up again. But it's still going to be neat to be outside. Under the lights. I mean, it's a really cool atmosphere. It's almost like a big tailgate type party.
And Rich, I'm glad you brought up the kind of atmosphere in the outdoor shows and stuff. And we're still at the tail end of the pandemic. Hopefully next year we get back to a normal schedule with Warrior Wrestling. But like how crazy it is, reflecting on the last 12 months that before Warrior Wrestling did these stadium shows with like these big names, there was no blueprint for how to do this. We went first kind of with GCW. And then AEW started doing the outdoor, dailies, play shows. They were bringing fans in. It's just wild to me that, this company that we're a part of, that's really a non-traditional wrestling company. It's a not-for-profit wrestling company, which is insane, has that kind of influence that we could, really change up the wrestling landscape and help other people to get back to work and things like that.
Oh, for sure. And, just mentally, I think it was great for everybody to have everybody that went and those of us that were part of the shows to get out there and see everybody and, keep our distance for the most part, but just to kind of get out there and get a little bit of normalcy back. So, another step in the right direction this year. But Warrior, I think, has really become a destination. Everybody that comes through say how much they enjoy working at Warrior Wrestling shows. I hear the same thing about Defy in Seattle, that it's, it's one of the places that you have to go to. You have to compete at Defy. You have to compete at Warrior Wrestling. There's other organizations that are like that, but to have Warrior is still a relatively new company up in that echelon of independent promotions. You touched on it in the beginning. It really is like an all-star wrestling event every time there's a show. It's not every month. It's, it's a little bit different. So you're able to kind of bring in names from all these different places. Lucha has always been prominently featured on the events. Totally. Right. Women's wrestling has been part of it. But you're able to bring in people from all over the country, from all over the world, really. And just make it something really exciting. It's really cool to be a part of.
Yeah, one of the dream matches I want to bring up that I'm really excited about, Matt Cardona and Sam Adonis. I mean, you talk about heel Rudos, right? Like a guy who knows how to really, methodically.
Bocchini.
Bocchini.
Yeah. You'll get it. You'll get it. Just keep
methodically.
warm up first or something, Nick.
Methodically. You talk about a guy who can methodically kind of manipulate that audience and Sam Adonis, and somebody that the fans really want to love in Matt Cardona. Just such a great, a lot of people would say underutilized guy that, is just really beloved. I think this is just going to be a really cool clash, man, when he gets to the ring. I think this is going to really over-exceed on whatever the expectations may be for these two.
I really think so, too. Cardona probably hasn't had the opportunity to really showcase what he can really do. Everybody knows that he's got charisma, but as far as in-ring work, I think for some fans that, oh wow, this guy can actually go, because they've never really had the opportunity to see that. Sam Adonis is a guy who I'm still perplexed hasn't really had a major opportunity, with any of the bigger promotions in the U.S. We haven't seen him in NXT or WWE. We haven't seen him in Ring of Honor. He's mostly a name in Mexico and in Japan, right? Yeah. His hometown of Pittsburgh for sure, but the fans at Warrior have really taken he's one of the guys they like to boo. I don't blame him, right? But he's excellent at what he does, and that's going to be an exciting matchup because Adonis is another. He's bigger than he looks. Number one, you just look at him. Oh, and you know what I mean? I think we talk about it on commentary all the time at the shows. You don't really realize how big he is until you see him in the ring with somebody else who is big as well. But he can move around the ring. He's not he's not a lumbering, 6 foot. I don't know if he's 6'2" or 6'3", but he doesn't lumber around.
No. Sam's very athletic, and I think that's the thing. And Sam doesn't work every opportunity that's thrown to him. He only works stuff that he's really passionate about that he wants to do. I mean, he kind of has more of a pick of the litter kind of situation, which is nice. So, when he's showing up here to wrestle Cardona, which is a big high profile bout, you're gonna know he's gonna bring the goods here. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, without a doubt.
Sam's upset when he doesn't get booked. There was like a show or two last. I think
he was really upset, wasn't he?
He was pissed. I mean,
he was mad.
I don't want to spill backstage dirt on very positive play.
He was pissed though. He was like, what the hell?
He was upset, man, because he's been on like every show. But I mean, that's the thing is like you talk about what Warrior has become, which is this destination. Like, it is so competitive to get to even just compete on these cards, to get to go in with some of these top names. One of the names I wanted to bring up to you. I don't know if did you get the chance to see the Pillman Dark Side of the Ring episode? Have you watched it yet?
Yes, I did. Yep.
Man, okay. So like after having watched that, like looking back, on the 2 years we had with Brian at Warrior Wrestling and watching him go through the paces, that crazy match he had with Bully Ray where he really got beat up pretty badly. And then he did. Then he had to go win the title. I mean, talk about that layer of the onion to you, man. Now, like having known him like that and now getting to see the full story, like what does that say to you about? And you knew him from MLW too. You worked there for a long time with them. Yeah.
Yep. I've I don't want to say I know him really well, but we've obviously at MLW had tons of conversations. I remember spending some time with him in San Diego. We got back to the hotel after taping in Tijuana one night, and what's still open? Let's go find something to eat. And we just talking, walking down the street, just so I got to know him a little bit. But you talk about peeling the onion back. I mean, there's a lot of layers there, and he's I don't want to say that I never thought he was like mentally strong or anything like that. It never crossed my mind one way or the other, but to hear what he's gone through, that's a tough kid. He is a tough kid. And the thing is, a lot of times, people that go through that kind of trauma, they become very hardened, and that's not Brian.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you're 1,000% right about that. And I think that's the thing that, like, when I look back on my time with Brian too, from the Indies and other shows like that, it's just how soft he always was, right? Like a very gentle person. When you say he didn't really become hardened by that experience, like if I had not known that story, I would have thought this guy came from like a super well-adjusted family.
For sure. Yeah, it's normal kid. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, totally blew my mind. Now we have the current Warrior Wrestling champion, Trey Miguel, man. Do you think that he might like find a silver lining, a benefit here from having not gone to NXT with his buddies and like continuing to find his own path as a single star?
I think that I think it's so easy to get overlooked right now at WWE. Yeah, there's, hours and hours and hours and hours of content that they produce. But, and I'm not trying to sling mud, but most of it's not good right now, right?
Yeah.
Further that, how many bodies do they have there? So it's so easy just to get lost in the shuffle. I'm not, from my understanding, I guess they won the tag team titles, right? Did I see that?
Yes, they did. They're the current tag.
Right. So exception to the rule right there. They brought them in and right away they're doing stuff with them. That doesn't always happen. A lot of times guys will go in. Is he still there? You know what I mean? You don't know. And it's such a crapshoot. Yeah, there's some stability there, obviously. The paycheck's nice without a doubt. Trey, I think, going on, I mean, that says a lot about his belief in himself. That, I don't know if he had an offer to go there or not. I'd imagine maybe he did. We don't know for sure.
Right.
But whether he did or whether he didn't, a lot of times when you're part of a group, it's tough to break off. But it seems like he's doing that. He's forging his own path. I'm going to be honest with you. I was probably as surprised as anybody when he won the Warrior Championship. I really was.
Dude, we didn't know, man.
I didn't see that coming. And it's not to say that I don't think he's, worthy or capable of being the Warrior Champion. He was just so fresh as a singles competitor. I wasn't really sure what to think. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited to see where he goes with it. I've liked what I've seen from him so far. He's got a lot to prove as a singles guy, but like I said, to kind of branch off and say, I'm going to do this myself. There's something there. There's a fire that burns there, and I think that's I think it's easy for people to pick up on that. So I'm excited to see what he does with it.
One thing I wanted to ask you about is I recently had the chance to interview Renee Paquette, and she talked about how there's not really a training performance center for the commentators, right?
Right.
Like, everybody else has places to go backstage and practice and roll around in the ring, and they've got coaches dedicated to wrestling. But I just kind of wanted to get your take on what was the experience like for you of learning the WWE style down at the Performance Center? How was that?
It was interesting. So there's a voiceover room that's there. I think you've been there, haven't you?
I've not.
You've not been down there. Okay.
No,
well, there is a voiceover room where I spend hours, honestly, calling the same matches over and over and over and over and over and over again. Me, Corey Graves, a lot of times Jason Albert would come in, or Matt Bloom. Sorry, I still think of his gimmick name.
Sure.
But Matt Bloom would come in. Byron would come in. We'd have the talent come in and call a couple matches just to kind of get a feel for it. So something as simple as, oh wow, I can slow down because now you have to explain something here. It gives you a different perspective of it. But to say that there's somebody there like coaching you all day, it's not like that. It's set up, or at least when I was there, it was set up. Michael Cole was able to Skype in, and before Zoom was around or whatever. But anyway, it's set up so he can video call in, and he can produce you through the headset and kind of work with you. But he only has so many hours in the week as well, right? So it's not a constant thing. A lot of it is just trial and error, and then going out there and doing it, and hoping for the best, hoping you figure it out.
How hands-on was Triple H, or is he not that hands-on with the commentary?
Well, he wasn't super hands-on when I was there. He wasn't at the Performance Center a ton. He was there enough, but it's not like he was coming in, calling matches with me or anything like that. He's got a million other things that he's doing.
Did you feel ready when you were asked to
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. And I don't know if I wasn't ready for NXT because I literally just moved to Florida like 3 days before. So no, I was not ready.
Okay.
When they moved me to Smackdown, I was not ready at all.
Okay.
At all. I even remember saying to Cole, you sure you want to do this? Because I don't feel like I'm ready yet. I feel like I could be seasoned a little bit more. Now, that said, if he hadn't just thrown me into the fire at NXT, I wouldn't have progressed as quickly as I did because I had done indies, but I'd never done TV. And it's a whole different, it's completely different. We were talking about this off air. There's a million guys that can call wrestling matches, but to do TV, it's a complete, it's a whole other skill set. It's a whole other thing that you have to learn. Having not done a ton of TV, I had done hockey and stuff like that, but very linear, simple, straightforward stuff, not thrown in a million packages and graphics and just all these things that wrestling is now.
Yeah.
That's the tough part. The tough part's not calling matches. The tough part is managing the traffic. That's the tough part. And that's what takes a long time to learn. Especially for as I don't want to say as complex as their shows are, but there's a lot of moving parts in those shows. So to be the guy that's trying to direct that, when a lot of times they don't even know what's coming next. You walk out of the production meeting trying to figure out, hold on, we went in there, I thought I had answers going in. Now I have more questions when I come out of this goddamn production meeting than I did going into it. And then they have to get, you got to get stuff signed off from Vince, so it's 5:30 by the time anybody gets an answer. And then you're going out there and you don't have time to look at the run sheet that's been updated, and you still think it's something from 4 hours ago. So it's difficult. It's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That gave me anxiety just like listening to that.
Oh, boy. I feel so bad for the new guy. I don't know if you're going to ask me about that, but I've had other people ask me about, hey, what do you think of bringing a guy from ESPN? I think somebody like that who is maybe more of an anchor, believe it or not, might be a little more suited to that role. However, to just bring somebody in, and we've seen it before, you cannot just take somebody and drop them into that spot. It does not work at WWE. You might be able to get away with it somewhere else. It doesn't work at WWE, right? And I'm not saying this because he replaced me on Smackdown. They brought Morrow in. Morrow's a great play-by-play guy, right? But he had a hard time handling traffic.
Yeah.
And they embarrassed the shit out of him because they put Tom Phillips as the fourth guy at the desk, which was a bullshit thing to do, right? But Morrow's a great announcer. He had trouble with the traffic, right? So now to bring somebody in who's never done wrestling, and Morrow's a wrestling guy. So now you bring in a guy who's never done wrestling before, and you're going to stick him in that spot on a live show without giving him months of training behind. And I don't know, maybe he did. Maybe he spent 6 months calling matches with somebody being produced in the dark. I don't know whether he did or whether he didn't. I hope he did. From what I'm reading, that didn't happen. So I don't know why they always think that they can do this. It doesn't work. I'm sure he'll get better. He seems like he's competent. He worked at ESPN. He's good at what he does.
Sure.
It just boggles my mind sometimes when they do stuff like this.
For real quickly, just to clarify, when you say Morrow had trouble with traffic, you're talking about throws to different segments and packages and things like that, or whatever.
Just the pace, the same thing that I had trouble with.
Okay.
Just keeping up with, it's not a hard. It's not. That's a hard thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do on a live show.
What did you have Vince in your yelling at you when all this was going on too?
I had Cole.
You had Cole.
Cool. I had Vince in my ear a handful of times. My favorite story about that is Madison Square Garden. The show they did from there.
Okay.
Right? The first stream they did from there, and there was the Brock Lesnar Big Show match.
Okay.
Anyway, I
wait. Yeah. It was like a one-off pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was on a Saturday night from the Garden.
I remember.
Originally, we were supposed to do that show out of the studio in Stamford. We're going to call it from there. And, come on. So they sent us to the Garden to do it, which is awesome, right? Yeah. Like, that's super cool. I'm psyched that I got to do it. I'll never forget John Cena coming out, and, he does the thing, and he says something to the camera, right? Well, as he's going to say, I'm waiting for him to say something to the camera, and he starts talking, and I don't hear him. So I'm thinking, the mic's, I guess I got to cover that, right? So I just started to say something. All of a sudden I hear, lay out, John's talking. No. So my asshole puckered right up. I shut my mouth, and I was like, John does the thing. He runs down to the ramp. I didn't say a word until I heard Vince go, talk.
Wow, dude. Yeah, that's got to be.
Oh God.
That's got to be real nerve-wracking, and in the garden, no less. Where
Right. Oh my God. What the fuck?
it's like the booming voice of both. You hear them both at the same time, and that's
But
it.
so, oddly enough, though, he wasn't in my ear a ton that night. He really wasn't. It wasn't. And usually Cole was there to filter things, right? Like Vince would yell at Cole, and then Cole would water it down in a way that was palatable for me. Trying to figure this stuff out on the fly. But no, that night at the Vince, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like I've seen horror stories. I've seen Cole get yelled at while he's doing on cams. I don't know how he keeps it together. Like seriously, I've seen that happen.
Like Vince is yelling at Michael Cole still.
Legitimately, I mean, when I was there, legitimately, I remember one night Cole is doing an on cam and Vince is like giving it to him about I forget what it was, but just giving it to him there, and Cole's doing tossing a package like nothing. Dude, it was unbelievable. People, we've talked about this before. People give Cole a hard time if they only knew. There's a reason why he's in that spot and why they keep putting him back in that spot. He's the best at what he does.
Wow. Well, that was all very funny to me and entertaining and insightful. There was a lot going on there, Rich.
There's a lot going on there, yeah.
There's a lot. You really took us on a roller coaster there.
You asked me, and I just. You're like my therapist, Nick.
No, it's okay. Hey, yeah, you're gonna. This is BetterHelp. You owe me $45 for the session.
Good, very nice. I'll pay you in Chicago.
So let's get back here to Warrior Wrestling to kind of wrap up here. It's a very exciting show. Like we brought up the first ever, we're gonna crown a new champion here. The Warrior Wrestling Lucha champion. I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited about this whole card here, Rich. Like, what else do you want to say here to the fans before we kind of wrap it up here today?
Well, we're working behind the scenes to, for those fans that'll be watching it online that aren't able to go to Chicago, we're working a little bit to kind of bring up the production value a little bit. So hopefully, we'll see how that goes. And I'm expecting it's going to go well, hopefully.
I think, but you brought up the traffic thing earlier. I think if people could only see the notes that you are, I mean, because you're not just a commentator, Rich. Like you are helping with production and telling everybody where they can do graphics. I mean, you're doing the whole thing, man.
It's I decided, we haven't really done it in the past. I obviously know how to do this stuff, so might as well, right? I talked to Steve. He's like, yeah, man, go for it. Steve's the principal there at Marion Catholic and the boss for Warrior Wrestling. He's, hey, go for it. So I said, well, why not? So I laid it out in such a way that, again, hopefully we're able to put all these moving pieces together. It's a small production staff, but I think production wise, hopefully the fans will see a little boost there. And for those of you that you're looking forward, maybe you're getting your shots now. July, was it 21st? I think is the next one. Or is it the 17th?
Yeah. The one out the Warrior Wrestling Stadium Series second episode.
Yeah, it's July. It's either the 21st or the 17th. What's the date? Pull it up there, Hausman. And then there's another show in August. But my point is that these are all destination shows, right? So if you're looking at, I've been locked up in the house for a year and a half or whatever the hell it is, I want to go see. Like seriously, come to one. Flights into Chicago are cheap. You can actually. I actually looked it up. You can take the light rail. You can also from the light rail, you can get on the commuter rail, which will drop you off about a mile from where the high school is, and then you can just Uber over.
Yeah, super easy. It's actually very accessible. Then there's no traffic usually in that area, and a huge parking lot. Huge park.
You can bring your own food. You can bring your own stuff. Bring your own beer. You can bring beer. It's not a problem. So for what are the dates again? July and August. There's shows coming up. But seriously, think about it. You want to get out of the house. It's a destination show to come to.
I agree. And it's Saturday, June 5th, Saturday, July 17th, and then Saturday, August 21st. You can go get a season pass. That's $300. You get all three shows. You get all kinds of fan fest amenities, like all the autographs you could want. You don't get them a la carte. You just get everybody if you get the fan fest ticket thing. And it was just teased in the last 24 hours. July 17th is going to be a very nice, very evil Stadium Series show. And that means that Danhausen will be in the house, and I'm very excited about that.
I am super excited. You took the words right out of my mouth. The 21st it's going to get very right. The 21st or the 17th.
17th is going to be
the 17th of July is going to become very evil.
Yes.
I want to, Dan, what a character he is, huh?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, when they pass the girlfriend test, I know that they're a big deal because like Liz loves Danhausen, and then I went and bought her a Danhausen mask for Halloween.
Oh yeah,
because he got the limited run masks, and I was
Yeah.
like, we'll get with those. I gave it to her, dude. She didn't even open it. She's got it in the box on her
Wow.
shelf. She's like, this is a collector's item. This is a valuable thing. We're gonna protect this at all costs. So
Oh man.
that's over. When you pass the girlfriend test, that's over. So,
Yeah, that's hugely over.
All right, Rich, where do you want to send people to find you, follow you, support you, all those great things?
You can find me on Twitter at Rich Bocchini, RichBoccini, and if you want to book me for something, my email's on there. I don't even know what it is. bookrichpbp@gmail.com. That's what it is. I almost gave out my other email, which is my more private email, right?
What are you doing with that email account?
Well, who knows? You know what I mean? Private things with that email. No, I seriously go to Twitter at Rich Bocchini. I remember that.
Where's Nick gonna edit this?
Actually, hold on. Wait a minute. It's on the screen for for people that are watching. You actually have you have my Twitter handle on the screen. So there it is.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Oh boy,
this is professional
stuff. Oh, we have fun. Yeah, we have fun, don't we?
Yeah, it's professional. All right, we're done. We're done. That was good.